and Marlon, and I'll just make sure that you're muted, your microphone is off. Start the recording. And well, it's probably, it should be asking you, good job, awesome. All right, I just need my password for this platform and we're ready to roll. Get started.
Get started. Okay, the Corporation of Harpers Ferry Budget and Finance Committee is having a special meeting today at 4:05 p.m. March 22nd, 2022. Let me read our verbiage here. Until further notice, the Corporation of Harpers Ferry Governing Deliberative Body will hold its meetings and/or hearings virtually via Zoom, which provides for public participation during a public comment period when applicable and when posted on the agenda. Alternatively, the public may watch by YouTube video or listen by telephone. These options comply with the West Virginia Open Governmental Meetings Act. In attendance today, we have Laurel Drake from the Budget and Finance Committee, Storm DiCanzo from the Budget and Finance Committee, myself, Christian Petraconis, and then Deb Kelly, our financial officer, and Quentin Thomas with Bid Express. I'll call the order. Approval of the agenda. Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? All right, here we go. All right, so today we're going to have discussion and action of evaluating for recommendation the best vendor bid for the sludge removal project of the sedimentation tanks at the Harpers Ferry Water Plant. Okay.
Awesome. So Quentin is joining us from Bid Express, as this is our first run through on opening up bids here, and he's going to help us learn how to do that. And once we feel that we have all the data that we need in order to make our evaluations, we can probably cut him loose. And then from the process that we used the last time we had to evaluate the bids, I sat with Christian and looked at what this platform kind of negated as a need to evaluate, like, was the bid submitted on time? Well, you can't have submitted a bid unless it was on time, so we punted that out, right? So we went through and made some slight changes to how we were going to evaluate. And so each of you, there were 3 bids submitted. I know only the names of the companies. So on each of these charts, you're going to get one for each of the companies. And after we get all our data on the bids, then we'll go through and evaluate them based on what we've got here. And then we'll make a summary. So we have a numerical value for each vendor. I don't know if these are in the order that they will appear to us, but they're up in the upper right-hand corner. You have the name of the vendor that has submitted a bid.
And we're going to save these at the end of the meeting for the record.
All these, yeah, don't take them with you. They're all just for documentation.
Frame them and put them up
Right.
on the
So
wall.
there's 3. There's 3
Yes, there's 3 bids, 3 sheets, and just jot your name on.
on the bid. Yeah. Mhm.
You has the date on it and the vendor. Man, very saves a lot of time here. And when you get your pen, I could. Well, this will be your first time doing it. We've done it, Storm and I and Deb has done it before. We had a lot of discussion. But.
So, okay, so why don't we go ahead and get things rolling, and I'm gonna share the screen so that you can see the platform and okay. I'm gonna go there. Okay, are we seeing it? Okay, good. All right. So here is the this went in under our solicitations. This is the bid that we're speaking of, which closed on the 17th. And these are, you know, the details, these are the questions that were presented to me during the bidding process and the answers that I gave. If anybody would need to look at that and all the different items that they had to answer. And then over here under fetch bids, this tells us here below, these are people who got into the system to access it, right?
The tires, at least.
Right, exactly. And then at the bottom here are the 3 submitted bids. And that's as far as I've gotten, Quentin. So please take it away from here.
All right, great. So whenever you're ready to open the bids, you can either choose to open them one at a time, or you can choose to open all at the same time.
Are they, I'm just gonna do them one at a time because it's a little overwhelming for me to think. If I open them all, am I gonna get like?
The only thing it'll show on this page is it'll just show you the bid total on that column, and then you will be able to click into each one individually to download any.
You don't have to download the documents.
Okay, so I'll just
Yep.
open all. That will be the easiest.
Yep.
Okay, open all.
All right, and I thought about that. I remember there was no like total showing here for this.
Oh, because we have each cost thing is like a proposal. So
Mhm.
yeah, right. Okay, and so then what do I do next?
You can click on any of the names to go into it.
Oh,
All right. So from this page, you can view all the fillable forms. And then if you want to download any of the attachments, those will be near the bottom of the page to download separately. Or yeah, actually there's a couple there I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a couple further up. Right?
Oh,
These are things that we,
Oh, you provided. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay.
but this is a submitted file that they made. And it shows the disposal site. I retained my own laboratory visit. Okay, change my own laboratory results, and he's got the he says he's accepting the risk. 1 week, okay. So can I, if I try to, this, so am I able to like print this, print PDF, or let's see what happens
yes.
when you do that?
So the print PDF will print everything off in one PDF file. And if the attachments are a PDF file, it'll include those attachments in this as well. So it'll all be in one.
Rock and roll, we know.
So the difference between the two are just, well, actually, so that blue banner means that it sent you a link in order to download it. And this print PDF button will always be, it'll usually be like it'll email you a link. And I can tell you the direct link to it if you want. A user would have to be logged into your account in order to get to it anyway. So if anyone's on YouTube watching, they wouldn't be able to access it from the link anyway.
Again, I'm on like multiple devices here. So are you telling me that it sent a PDF to my email?
No, it'll actually send you a link and to your email to download the file, to download the PDF. Mhm.
Perfect, that's perfect. Okay. Give me a second to get onto another device. Get the proper emails. So I don't have a problem with that. So,
When you click on the link, you'll have to be logged into your BidExpress account in order to download the file.
on the link, I'm gonna have to log into the BidExpress account in order to, can I be logged in on 2 different devices?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
And if you did want to, I'm not sure if you wanted to show the file on the shared screen when you download it, but okay, because I was going to say I could tell you the direct link to it as well. You could type in the
Let's
browser.
try that.
Okay, yeah. So open a new tab in your browser. Oh, is that little, sometimes that zoom button will be in the way at the top too. Yep. All right, and it'll be bidexpress.com. / report _ outputs. There you go. And that'll be it. Okay. And each time that you go into one of the bids and click that print PDF, the link will show up here for it. So you can just leave this URL open and refresh whenever you click it for the other ones too.
Okay. So if I click on this blue, this is gonna be it then?
Yep, that's going to be it.
All right. Okay, here. Okay, great. All right, so what I need to do is this gonna,
I'm also in the Bid Express account now.
can you,
Looks like I also,
So-
Quentin, if I hit fetch bids from my account, will it disrupt anything?
No, it won't. You can still also fetch bids too, or go to that page too.
An outlet?
Okay, I have the download link here.
got it, can you
Yeah.
email it and then I can go to my office right now, because I can't get on here. for some reason.
It takes a minute to get the battery going if it's truly dead.
I should get a audible acknowledgement that it's connected.
You're gonna get a desk with the power things right on the desk.
I think.
I'm on that committee.
And solar power test.
Oh, geez, here goes the solar power. All right.
Okay, just set in Commonwealth,
Okay,
down to the other
perfect.
ones.
All right. Let's see. No. Okay, great. So that's all perfect. Excellent. All right. So we just need to print this out and then we will have a hard copy of each one. Yeah. We're going to put it on. So we need 4 copies. Really help that fully between them on. All right. Okay, awesome. So now we just need to do that for each one.
Yes.
Or do you want it?
Download.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Stan.
Yep. Oh, cool.
Lost the share button.
Quentin, if we select one today, do we do it through you guys? Or, no,
We will have, so what's getting recommended, we will recommend our advice on which one to choose at town council on
At town
Thursday
council,
night, and then we will be responsible for advising them as far as, I don't think, do you have a vehicle through which we can do that? Quentin?
To announce it, you mean?
To make the award.
Make an award? Okay. So what some people will do, they're in Bid Express, after the solicitation has closed, there's a section for public documents. And what some people will do is they'll attach a document announcing who's being awarded. And what that'll do is it'll automatically send a notification to the bidders as well.
Perfect, okay, so we'll do that, but really, we'll
With the
probably
town
chosen
council.
at the town council level,
Correct.
yes.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
we're just recommending.
Yeah.
Wait,
And we can decide later, like, you know, as we get into more of these, if, you know, you all want to, when we're gonna go through this process, if, you know, half an hour before, you want me to open this
Yeah.
up, print these things out, so we're not consuming time in this
That makes
meeting. We can
sense.
make that choice later as far as the procedure goes.
Okay, and one email was sent you the other 2 days.
Perfect.
And if you want, I can show you where that public document section is as well.
Oh, gosh.
Of course,
you know, it's always something. Ink cartridge. Oh,
doesn't like the humidity. Needs more sun.
This is huge, right?
It is.
I thought I got mine out, but then I couldn't.
there is.
Yeah, conveniently right outside of this building. Bread and not bringing cookies. Oliver spreads that.
That's right. Yes, thank you. Yeah. There is so much. Oh, yeah. And I'm usually a fall person for pollen, but now the spring gets me.
Yeah, that's not gonna need that. Yeah. There.
It's weird. Like last year, the
Oh, this one's
Bad under my eyes.
That's 37 pages.
wow.
That's
I'm gonna
correct.
only print 2 copies and we'll share a
Yeah,
couple tables.
I can actually look at it.
Okay, I'll just print.
I think it's-
Okay, so while we're waiting on that, Quentin, help us with the other, feature you were discussing over announcement.
Okay, sure. So the other tab, there's another tab in your browser that still has the previous page in it. You can click there. Okay, and then click on that blue bids button right next to the project number. Where's WW?
I should step back a second.
Oh, okay.
Printer.
We're through the syrup today.
Yeah, the blue tabs.
I'm sorry, I missed the instruction.
I'm sorry, we were having, the printers was having a bit of a hiccup and I had to address that.
problem.
Say again what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, click on the bids button. So that's how you'll get back to the fetch bids page. It's right next to the project number WW001. There's a bids
Thank you.
button. Mhm. All right, so this brings you back to the fetch bids page. Now, just so I can show you, scroll down just a little bit below general info. Yeah, so this public documents, whenever you're ready to announce who's being awarded, this is where you'll upload that document and it'll give a notification to your bidders that a document has been uploaded. And I think in the email also tell them the file name, but they can come into this and read and see
read
the
it.
document.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Well, that's
Yep.
wonderful. Excellent. Okay, sounds good.
All right, awesome.
All right, let's see, let me just go get what, we have another printer and then see if we feel comfortable, if we want to let Quentin go or not.
Okay.
Confirmed that I do have, I can do it right on my screen.
Okay.
I'm good. Yeah, well, let's wait a second till we get to
Yeah.
the third one.
Yeah, but you were able to download all the documents, right?
We're on two and then we're.
I think after that, we should have what we need and just make sure that doesn't have any more questions about sort of the process forward, but we could always email you if we have questions about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Got another one in the wings. So we'll be doing this soon again.
All right, awesome. How soon is the next one?
2 weeks. Bigger than this. Yeah.
Yeah, this was our simpler test flight.
We have to
Yeah.
do this first. This is very critical.
Oh, yeah.
This one we have to do.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
The second one's bigger.
Yeah, you'll have to visit us sometime, Quentin.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to.
Come to West Virginia.
Quentin, I hadn't met you yet. My name is Laurel Drake. I'm also on the council, and nice to meet you. I appreciate the work you've done with us and helping us to learn this new system that I'm just learning as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, and happy to help. If you, again, like, even if you have any questions, you can feel free to email us at that onboarding email address as well as you're learning it too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I was gonna, I'm sure our staff knows, but so the bidders, they pay something to you to get on the system?
Right. So they pay, sorry, it broke up for a moment, but I think I got your question. So they'll pay whenever they're ready to submit a bid. In order for them to access, they can register an account for free. And then with that registering for free, they can access your project. They'll be able to download any of your bid docs or instructions of bidders, or if you have drawings. But when they're ready to submit a bid, then they will have to pay to submit the bid.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is, we may have, being a town, we have lots of things that are actually services. They're not so much building things.
Right.
Consultants, does the system work for that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, some people, I mean, I've seen people advertise, basically, the way the software works, it allows you to advertise a project and to receive a bid on it, regardless of if it's a road, a building, if it's an RFP or RFQ.
Oh, okay. I like this.
Like anything in our RFP process, if it requires us to do the formal process, we can use this platform. And as we're learning how to do it more fluidly, won't take nearly as much time and energy, more precise. And Quentin, just a little bit of feedback, we actually did, we believe, get at least one, maybe two bids that we would not have seen otherwise without the
Well, all three of them are new.
All three of them. Wow.
Oh, that's great. All right. I'm glad to hear that.
So your platform is better than we thought.
Yeah, so far so good.
And they knew about it too. I don't know why they didn't bid, but
Well, so the only thing this doesn't help you do is like hire people, right?
no, you said we can. Well, not employees, but like consultants who need services.
Good, because it just depends on what documents you put up. It doesn't, the platform doesn't care what you are doing it for. And then you can even have just a bid package as a PDF, whatever you need. Just like you would with the regular bid process, just this enables us to do it in a way that's all electronic, that ensures that it's complete, because you can specify, and we did, and you'll be part of the process for the next one, things that are required, or things that are optional, or things that you opt out, and you can say why you're opting out.
So even as simple as submitting resumes.
Well, I would say this would probably be, you could, but I don't know if it'd be worth activating the platform for that.
Right. Yeah. You could, the same way you did, you required them to upload proposals today. You could have the submission be them uploading their resumes, but then of course you're asking them to pay $35 to submit that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's expensive.
But as far as the platform goes, yeah, we can want to, but there's a threshold where, because it is some effort to put the big together, and it's fairly easy, but it's still a little meticulous and putting it together.
But it's very easy. Once you get to the groove of it, it is very easy to use. And I have to say relatively intuitive. Oh, you're so welcome. Okay, so let's take a quick look here. Quentin, if we cut you loose and I run into a problem, if I email you, do you think you'll be able to circle back to us within the next half an hour?
Sure, I'll have access to my email for like the next 30 minutes or so. I'll probably be off after that though.
I think we have what we need from the platform right now.
Okay.
I feel like that's a pretty option, so you don't have to sit here and listen to our boring discussion.
Okay. All right, no problem. Yeah, I'll
All
keep an eye on my email until I get offline. The one other thing I'll say real quick is, if all of their attachments were PDF, which I'm assuming all of them were PDFs, then they'll all be in that printout that you just did. But if any of them were Excel or something like that, you may have to download them. Just go in the way you would do that is just go into their project like you did to print the PDF, and you would just go down to the proposal and just click on it, and then it will download automatically to your computer. But I imagine all of them are PDF. Most of the time people attach PDFs of them.
Right.
So that would show up on the page where it says report name, and then it has the blue links.
Yes, the blue links. Yep.
All right, so we only have 3, so that would indicate that it's just the 3 continuous PDFs, no extraneous reports.
Right. Yes. Because they would be embedded in there.
Awesome.
If they were a PDF, they would be embedded within those PDF reports that you printed out.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Great.
Yep,
Right.
I'll be on standby in case you need anything.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Yes, it was also nice to meet you, Laurel, and what's your name? Christian. It's nice to meet you both. And I look forward to working with you on the next project too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually after this, I ask people if they feel comfortable at BidExpress, because I usually sit on the first one, but I know the next one's going to be a bigger project. So if it's just in the next couple of weeks, I'll just hang tight and help you get everything set up for that.
Okay.
Thank you. I can confirm on both of those points. Yes, it will be coming in the next couple of weeks, and yes, it is going to be much more complicated.
Okay. All right. Great. Yep. Well, then I'll look forward to it then.
Thank you,
All right,
Quentin.
take care.
All right. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, let's see. We have,
Looks like page 3 it starts.
yeah. The general, yeah. The first. So, which one are we going to look at? Each one.
Yeah.
And which one do you want to start with?
Well, we had opened up, I think, Commonwealth.
Commonwealth first. Okay.
So, I see page 2 it starts, the disposal site.
Now, should we be reading as we go, or do you want to do that independently after we've gone?
Why don't we go through them and see if we understand them? Because one of the things we learned from the last time was that there's a difference in, sometimes how this work is performed, and we may not all equally understand what we're reading. I struggled with that last time. So we might want to just make sure that we all have our questions answered before we evaluate. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So let's first look at Commonwealth Disposal then and see if anyone has any thoughts or questions about that.
They got 2 sites picked out. Where they are. Laboratories, time frame. All right. So you think these others, they never even applied? Is that it? That they didn't even try? There was another list that showed all the.
Yeah, it was just folks that opened it or
Those
looked
are
at it.
people who went in and accessed our.
And none of them were the
information, but did
ones
not respond.
before.
These are the only ones who presented a bit.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, there was a list there of people who looked at it but didn't bid.
Correct.
Any of those 3? The earlier people.
Right now, if they were early,
What do you mean, the folks who did the first time, were they among them?
Oh,
Oh, we could look.
so
if we know their
I
names.
can tell you that one of these people, one of these, that there's at least one of them is someone who was interested last time. And everyone who either bid or didn't bid, but had expressed interest, received an email saying, this is going live, here it is. Did they all equally participate? I don't think so, but they did all receive the opportunity.
And I'm here, oh no, I'm not on the right page, but we can look and check, although we can only accept the bids that came in.
I've got a question.
Mhm.
So, it seems important to know how many gallons they're actually going to transport and how many gallons are needed for them to transport. They're going to empty the tanks. Do we have a figure of that come out?
So what we did in order to facilitate a figure, because we really don't know, and their process also can change that figure. So depending on how the equipment that they have removes the sludge that's in there, they may be dealing with a slipperier, smoother, faster, slicker slurry, or they could use a thicker slurry. So what we said is, here are the dimensions, you are invited to come and look at the site, and it's incumbent upon you to determine how much you think is in there based on what we've given you and how many gallons you think you're going to have to pump. And so that you can come up with a price. And if you feel, and also we've asked that if you feel like you're not, how are you gonna handle if what you've estimated isn't accurate and you need more pumping than what you said? So we asked them to handle that in their pricing. So for instance, if you look
Oh,
at,
no, I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm looking for that in this first one.
I see it on the second page of what, of where the letterhead starts, I see a paragraph addressing that, I haven't read it. Item number 3 on the second page of his letter.
Yeah, I see it there, 110,000 gallons. That's a lot of load, but they can only carry
I'm sorry,
6,000 pounds.
where are you finding it?
There's a letter enclosed in this gentleman's proposal, page 2 of the letter, item number 3, and 2 and 3. I mean, I'm just getting there now, I haven't read it myself, but that's what.
I think on number 3, they're saying that 110,000 is, that's how much water they need to create the slurry.
Okay, well, I haven't read this yet, I need to digest it, I don't know.
Okay, they do say in the letter. The 110,000 gallons will be used to maintain sort of consistency down the side of the tanks. Given properly.
So are you interpreting that as the 110,000
I believe
as
so.
our factor to multiply by their price per gallon?
I believe so. It's not clear if they are hauling that, all of that. But I haven't read through it all.
That's a lot of tanks.
Yeah, it's 6,000 per.
I'm gonna see the other bids too. It's
Yeah,
18 loads.
I agree that needs to be clarified by them because
Yeah.
that is not clear at all because it could.
Well, let's look at the others. I'm not gonna try to determine.
I think let's look at the other ones and see how they all denote it, and maybe we're not sludge experts, and then come then.
Their pricing is basically per gallon, and that's all. Is that correct? Which is different from the others.
Yeah, it sounds like they're loading all of their costs into that price per gallon.
That's how I read it.
They're fully insured and they have their own disposal sites,
Mhm.
which are all regulated by the state of Pennsylvania.
You know, I agree with what you're saying, that we may want to, if we make a recommendation, we may want to do it with the affirmation of what we see as the total price based on the data we're
Yes.
provided.
Right.
Train is traveling from Baltimore. 30 miles an hour. Another train, no, word problems. Sorry. I will calculate this one.
And they, this second one there, they really went into how much is in the tanks.
Yeah, there's a challenge with the start time. And the time it takes to get it. I mean, the price is very attractive, but
Yeah, the first one. What's the second one?
April 11th, is that a problem? Is that the
no,
same time?
I'm not looking at Denali.
Oh, you're open now.
Well, no, I don't know if I don't have the other one. Like,
Oh, I've been reading, I'm halfway through the long one. Oh my gosh. Would we figure 50,000? That was in the budget? Oh my gosh.
More than 50,000 in my budget, but it's not multiple times more.
Way more.
That's okay.
That's very high. Into the high bid, the other one was 150.
Oh, the Commonwealth?
No, I got, no, we did it the first
Oh,
time.
yeah. The first bin I calculated. That one at 343.
So, give this, CBI. They say they've already gotten approval for the sludge center. It's a big deal. That they have that approval from.
Where do you see that?
Number one of their letter on the second page, they submitted the sludge samples to the state of Pennsylvania and received approval for putting it on the land.
Yes, but at the same time, all of the bidders had to acknowledge and fill out on item number, well, under laboratory results, they all had to accept the responsibility for disposal, and then they all had the opportunity to look at the chemical makeup of the sludge and accept the responsibility for it from there. But you're right, the first one, that's nice.
That's good
Yeah.
that no one, they can't say, well, we didn't get it approved.
Exactly, right.
They've got it approved. That's very good.
The other thing that's not clear is method. By which I've not read it in super detail.
Are you on the last one, or you?
No, I've read Commonwealth, I'm building a spreadsheet, and now I'm on Denali. I'm not all the way through. So,
Okay.
That rolls out into June.
they also say it will take 69 days, I believe, Commonwealth estimated it.
And even if we, the challenge with 61 days is that if we were going to start earlier, we don't have 69 days to do it.
But look at their price.
Okay, which one are you looking at
That
now?
was Denali. Denali.
Ooh,
And your per gallon price is less than half of Commonwealth. Putting out above and beyond, but you know, there might be efficiencies that they can make that number lower, so it's probably apples to oranges.
So I see it's 221, but then it's
Okay, they do explain their process. Oh, wait. No. Okay. They say, that Denali says that it will take no more than 2 days to complete once the work begins.
okay. That's-
I'm not sure that 60 to 90 came from, on the second that sheet. Probably not actually in Alaska.
Yeah, I see that too. Well,
So we need clarification on that. Maybe they'll say, okay, 69 days, they probably interpreted that to mean from now until when it would be done versus how long it would take for them to complete the job once they started. So if you went 60 to 90 days from now, you would get to first week of June.
back to Denali.
no, what they're saying is, it would only take them 2 weeks to do the work.
Oh,
The
I
work
see.
will begin within 2 weeks of completing the soil conditioner approval, which should take around
Oh, I
60
get
days to
that part
receive
now.
the MDA. So they
Okay.
still have, so to Laurel's point, they still have some work to do to get their approvals in place.
Got it.
Well, I figured out the additional volume would cost $8,400. And if it's 150,000, take the 90 off, 60,000 times 0.14 per gallon.
And so, I'm sorry, say that additional number again.
So it should be $8,400.
Okay,
Did it right?
so we're talking original number.
Yeah, the
Looking
lumps.
at,
If I would, they each of the top. Are they actually something I'm not sure about? I know that they're working to decrease it, Oscar. But is more going in it all the time? It's just through
Sure.
the-
Yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah,
Okay.
but they're taking it out too, but they're giving us a lump sum on 90,000 gallons. There's apparently more. It could be as high as 150.
what we asked in the bid was, look, it's all an estimation. So we want a lump sum number. And we need to know if what is reality is beyond what your lump sum number is, how are you going to deal with it? And they are addressing that here.
They did.
Yeah.
And then when you add the 84, so it's 29 something.
29,900.
But the biggest problem is it's almost 30K, but they're,
Time frame is the big one.
yeah.
The timeframe is the big challenge there. Yeah.
I was wondering, how did you get the figure that you said, Christian?
So the lump sum is 21.5 for 90,000 gallons. Now they said they estimated the 2 tanks to be a total of 150,000. So I subtracted the 90 from the 150. That's
Okay.
the additional, and then times
57.28 gallons. Or am I doing?
Well, it's
that?
150,000 minus the 90,000 for the lump
to
sum.
60,000 gallons potentially.
What's the 150,000?
Well, they said there's 2 tanks.
That's the total.
Oh, that's for
volume.
2 tanks. I'm sorry. I thought that was 75,000 per tank. I misunderstood that. It says the estimated volume in the 2 tanks is roughly 75,000. Is that per tank or both tanks?
The 2 times is approximately.
So it's just 75.
So, okay, yes, in that case, and they're allowing for some amount of overage.
So if that's the case, it's only, so it's,
The total amount based on the last sentence, per the requirements and specification, in the unexpected case that the 2 tanks are filled to or beyond capacity, the total volume increase, not exceed 90,000, then we provide, so I think that between the two tanks, they are estimating this 90,000.
Right,
And
so,
that is also concurrent with what the first bid was, it's roughly the same amount. So it's not like one saying it's half of what the other.
and even if it was another 90,000, that would come to $12,600. So definitely less.
So I think you're right by taking the 57.28 and multiplying that by 14 cents per gallon. Boy, 5, 4. You're gonna come up with a much lower.
Yeah,
number
it's
than
much
you did.
lower. Yeah, I had it as it's 75,000 per tank.
Oh, okay,
That's
all
my
right, so
mistake. I
that's a
misread it.
nominal amount on
It's
its own.
not. So,
It's nominal.
Yep.
I'm not sure, really, Commonwealth.
to me, this stuff is almost like sand. I mean, it's,
It's a big, sticky, mucky sand.
yeah, but it's not like we use any. I'm telling you, it's sand. It's like sand. It's or finer, very fine. Not like it's some industrial process and. I am really confused. These bids are all different.
I'm trying into that last one. It was hard to make it apples to apples. So that's why we started. But what apples do you want to look at?
Oh, yeah, as I said, they are deposited water sediment. I was wondering if maybe, there was some compression that Commonwealth was gonna do, and that the actual amount that would be loaded possibly would be less than that 410,000. Yeah,
As the now, they're not going to charge us for water. Included. So it's basically the price is based on what they pull out of those basins.
They also didn't mention if they needed water. They said they won't charge for using water. Does that
Well,
mean they're gonna truck a lot of
they're-
water there
They,
and use their own water?
no, we're probably, I assume they're going to use some of our water, but they're not going to charge us for that volume. Water.
They're providing their own water for village instead of, you know what I mean? I think that the other one said, we want to use the Harper's Ferry water to do it.
Yeah, and my guess is they're going to use some of our water, and I guess we could charge them, but what they're doing is they're not going to use that volume of water to count in the cost.
Yeah, okay. No, and I'm not saying we should charge them or anything for that. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Just,
They can do it fast, 2 days, but the thing is, it's 60 days, 2 weeks.
And I think the challenge with that is getting the approval for where it needs to go, they need to go through that
Who's
process.
this MVA?
And
Is there Maryland?
there's probably tomorrow.
Or Arkansas company, but it's the. When the bid is
Yeah,
reasonable.
it's some Maryland, Maryland disposal or, I don't know,
it's talking about that.
yeah. It's whatever approval body that they need in Maryland. And they had asked us, is it had, we had asked some questions about disposal that we've already done if it had been in state. Cause I but I have not, what we've done already has not been done in state, so they probably.
It takes 60 days to test something.
But they have to work within someone else's system.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe it does, maybe they have to sit it out there in the sunshine and then test it later and make sure there's no problem with it, I don't know.
So let's say, just for fun, let's say we approve that particular bid Thursday, next week, or this week. They can start the clock and get it up here and get a sample Friday. And get that sample going.
The problem is that it won't be ready until the end of May. We need to be.
Well, that's if it takes all 60 days.
They're in the Department of Agriculture.
Ah, there we go.
I couldn't figure out who the engineer is.
He's right about that.
So I'm saying we may get something, they're giving us worst case scenario, and we may get it quicker.
Well, we can also ask them. Ask them kind of like a realistic.
On the other hand, we're also looking, it's also a question of is it approved. If, what if it doesn't come back good, now we're in a row world.
Yeah.
So. Maybe we should be.
I'm just looking at cost.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm most concerned in this.
All right, so are we ready to, so if we're comfortable, we can, write down those who are charged individually, is that, want to take time to do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
first one's Commonwealth.
Just make sure that you're using.
The right sheet.
And you need.
I can stop, I just started looking at clean.
Well, you don't need to stop, I'm just asking if, we can, if there's any questions we can help you with before.
Not just the things for us. Also not left there to the last two. Wait, are we doing both basins?
Yes, we're doing both places.
Also have kitchen estimates. Gallons. Oh, I see.
The third bid explicitly states that they understand that Harper's Ferry will supply at no cost to their company the water that is used for washing down the basin.
Yes.
So they're basically, they're saying they understood they're not gonna have to pay for the water that is used to mix. So it's good to know. So that's probably what the others were taking from, also understood that, but now it's within printing here.
Okay, so the third one, press filter, clean harbors. Clean water, clean harbors. The big one, check one.
Oh.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah, you keep going, you keep going. I'm going through the first one, I'm going through this one right now.
There's so many things. I'm afraid I have missed the point about pressing it. I have not been looking for that.
That was, the vendor before had it where they're not gonna take it as a slurry, they're going to pull it on their vehicle, take the water out, and then they're moving solids.
and then the water that remains has been filtered.
That was another company that's not applying this time.
Correct,
Well, no,
but this one's doing
The
it.
fifth one is doing it that way.
Okay,
And I
gotcha.
haven't read that one
Thank you.
yet.
Very interesting. I'm too trouble.
Oh. Oh. Actually.
What's the hearing somebody talk about the water?
The third bidder, or the third one we looked at, Clean Harbors, they use the technology where they compress it into cake and filter it in the water is released, so they're not hauling all of the water.
Gotcha.
But I'm looking at it now, they're mobilizing to Kentucky, so I'm looking at their detailed
Right.
breakdown, that's a big part, and also the
Yeah.
equipment that's required for that. Extensive, but the price is actually, they've broken it down very nicely on what everything is. Goes down there.
And and then is this the one where they're saying that they would use our water and we wouldn't trust them or anything?
Correct. No, how that works out as far as what the cost will actually be.
Mhm.
Down to the water works.
Mhm.
I got a dollar price on the first one.
Also, the price of diesel fuel figures. Because it's up, it goes down.
Oh, this one was.
The actual disposal is not much. Oh, it's because I have two copies, I think. Harbors.
Oh, I haven't even seen it.
Oh, yeah, sorry. According. That's maybe.
You know what, I think it might have been attached twice because that was an awfully long document.
Yeah.
It must have been uploaded twice in their system.
Let me see. It does appear to be the same. Plans. Yeah.
Think that the Clean Harbors is taking effect.
No, you can say where they're going. Let's see. They say they have facilities around the country. And a blanket statement that they maintain a vast network of service centers and waste management treatment and disposal facilities. But I've not seen it specified. Or missed it. I missed it.
So I see the transport of box to landfill. So they are referring to landfills. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Waste management mountain view, reclamation landfill, and green gas. It's on page 6 of the Clean Harbors document. This. Anybody else saw it, but Commonwealth referred to courtesy diagram. I did not see it.
That's what we provided.
Oh, I see. I see. Right about us. Got it.
So it sounds like what we would need to do with them is sort of get a daily maintenance number of how many gallons they pump to make sure that we're falling within budget. And yeah, and if we just got to some point in the process where it was pretty much cleaned out and we felt like we could finish the rest of it on our own, and we come to our budget number, it sounds as if they would be agreeable to allow us to stop them.
Right. Action has been committed to this.
Right, right. Right.
I don't know if that's feasible though, because No, we'd have to ask. I mean, it's a great idea, but it just to get stuff out of the bottom of the tank, our equipment might not be as easy to get it out. That's what they have.
Yeah.
to,
So that's a good point. We're gonna have to explore that as we go. It's more questions we're gonna have to ask, yeah.
Now, Dick Dr. Dining in the past, they cleaned the tank all the way to the bottom. And he did it.
How often, do you talk about that?
It was, he didn't say how he did it, but they cleaned, I said they were never cleaned. He says, oh, no, we cleaned them. So,
To have that somebody there.
I know, because I was told that nobody.
Well, they didn't get one. Yeah, but he, isn't that great? that he
Well,
did
yes,
it?
been there.
To
So it's
I
been
know.
a decade.
wildly different
Exactly.
estimates for the number of gallons.
And I heard that at the meeting, I'm
That's
like,
really our extractors, just a discount per gallon basis. So, you know,
Absolutely.
yeah, you're right.
key things are going processed. Oh, the rate on this, they broke down everything.
Mhm.
And I'm only guessing that it's the disposal end that, you know, that is definitely. This is, this doesn't matter. It's my curiosity. So they said that it'd be 6,000 gallons per load per tanker truck, which means, but they're not pricing based on that. I think they provided that information because we'd asked for it. They're just doing it by the per gallon price applied to the 110,000.
Yeah, that's what I did.
So,
I got 30.
oh, no, it's not. Sorry. It's Jeepers Creepers.
It's very positive.
Yes, it does. Okay, you know, that's why I was reading everything so carefully.
I'm like, what's
I need to read my formulas more carefully than these cookies. This is easy.
Yes, it's very easy.
I just like to complicate. That's all.
Yeah. All right. So,
Well, I got 2 minutes in a row.
so it also seems that, you know, we don't, so let me just also say this, we don't necessarily have to make a complete recommendation today, I would imagine, it's up to you guys, but, you know, we can go through our analysis and provide and have our summary, but you all also could move to obtaining affirmation of information from these various vendors if we need have questions, which then, along with the bid evaluations, could be presented to town council, and then we could draw, then someone could move through that.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
Yeah,
Is that making sense?
yes, and I feel like we have enough information to make not a complete decision, like we're gonna need to look at it. And there are questions based on the other bids that we want to confirm, but the first one we looked at Commonwealth, both because of when they can do the work and the cost.
Okay, but let's do our chart.
No, you're right.
Yeah, they're
Yes,
sure.
yes,
The other thing, by the way, let's use them by numbers. I think it would be their names.
So,
Sure.
so the first one is gonna be Commonwealth, so put a 1 in a circle next to the Commonwealth one. It was gonna be the
All right. You already made graphs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
number 3 again. I have to put that one.
Yeah, Kevin. Number 3, the dollar amount. Mhm.
Lauren, are you following the charts okay?
I find it pretty difficult. Find the information that you need to do this.
Well,
You take a shot at it.
the question just is, have they adequately defined the disposal site? If so, yes, and then did they do it? Would you give it a 0 through a 2? And then you put that number here. And then, so you would go through these issues, and you don't have to write the yes or no, but the idea is you're gonna put the possible points they can receive for that. The same thing goes down here. Can we clearly understand their cost proposal? How clear is it on a scale of 0 to 20? Does it address the excess cost issue on a scale of 0 to 20? And how attractive is the total cost on a scale of 0 to 50?
And this over here is comments.
If you have any comments, yes. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take everybody's sheet and I'm gonna add up everything in all these, and we're gonna have a combined assessment of all of ours.
Yeah, I would do this chart differently
Because
because of time. The time thing is,
The time was gonna be a big deal, but I think it's okay, because the idea is that we must recommend the best, which is what is on the agenda. I'm not obligated to a municipality and processing owners to bring perspective. So I think it'll work out in the end.
Yeah, higher the better.
Attractive and a stronger score.
and all this, they're gonna do this differently from each other, the scoring, but in the end,
And if we're internally consistent with ourselves and
Right.
work on it.
That's the front of the Cold Harbor. So did you- That was at the front of it, the first 5 pages. That would be, in other words, this thing before this.
Pearl Harbor. Yes, they were up together, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Good. If I found some.
Have a sheet for,
Yeah.
Christian, can you hand him the thing with the binder clip on it?
The total costs, what do we evaluate? What's the
How
total cost?
how attractive is that to our budgeted amount? Is it an amount of money that's attractive to us, or is it not very attractive to us?
I'm ready.
Christian, what'd you think?
Should have brought done in
I
pencil.
know, I started to, and then
Yeah,
I,
it's been crossed.
yeah.
But you know what? Technically, supposed to write everything down. Financial industry. Let me see.
Well, things that are
You
final.
don't like erasing.
All right, I'm good on that, so working on that one. Okay. Yeah, the other thing that could be done is with paper recommendation. In the one that we do recommend. For each, that would be possible. That would make it very even.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yes.
That would make all treatment to be equitable, that we contact each of them and we, affirm that they could meet, that this is the price they're talking about, and that they would be able to complete the work by X date. And based on those answers, then with that would inform the decision of the council on Thursday.
I'm telling you, we could get hung up. They may not get back to us on a timely basis. I'm just worried now.
Well, if they don't, then that's.
I'd rather just make a decision today and then run it the winner for the best. We can then run it by them. I'm just worried that there'll be another, like we're not making a decision.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but if you have a conflict, I think, and
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm just noticing that there's more questions to be asked, of course. For instance, one of these companies mentions Sludge for land application. Or if requested for removal not under the permitted guidelines. So if there's something that's not under the permitted guidelines, they're going to take it to a pond facility so they can apply it to the land at a later date. So I just need to know. So you think that it's not all going to be land applying, which is what you have the price for land application. Are you saying that there could be a cost if you determine that some of this is not going to be land
I
applying?
could not interpret that to mean there are additional costs, but their way of explaining what will happen. with the land.
I can correct.
and remember too, they mentioned 2 locations. So it's very well, and they split the load between the two. The loads. I mean,
So
loads.
if there's a difference between them, they are sort of dealing with the difference. We aren't.
That's how I
I
interpret
think
it.
they're making the effort to explain what they're doing with it because we asked to know what are they doing with it. Yeah.
But it doesn't affect not affect the cost.
I've read this before. And so
Well, that you can say, this terminology right here.
Yes.
So we're going to confirm that number.
Yeah, that was a little fuzzy to me. Like, I
Because
think if
why
you deal
didn't
with
we
this all the
work with
time,
it?
you would know what that was, right? Finance Committee.
Pretty short. Short proposal.
We just want to tally these up and we get them done. Or I don't want to go through every line.
No.
Just, I mean, tally them up to the line, you know, and
I'm gonna go to one, tell me what you wrote down, and make a total.
Thanks.
And when we get
So
to,
not looking for the highest point. So it's not just pick the highest value.
well, the idea is that all things being equal, and if this is completely based on cost, well, it's not completely based on cost, and so we were trying to weight it a little bit. So that other factors would play a role, and then everybody's numbers would sort of go down to say, okay, this is the best choice for us. We'll have to see how that works out, because we do have a time factor that we are dealing with, which is a hard stop, and so that may play a role beyond what we
That's
see
right.
here.
So this doesn't deal with hard stops, basically.
And it's two-part, where we'll do the calculation, and if there's a clear answer, then we're there. But if it's close or there's something else, then we can
well, this
discuss.
is gonna take us down the funnel. So hopefully we're gonna, well, maybe one will be knocked out.
Right.
We just put that aside and then we can focus on,
What do we do about it?
And we can get into, the different ifs and whats.
Right. And when we get to the elements of total cost, I'm gonna write what we calculated as what we think the total cost is on this.
yes.
Is that okay there, Laura?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready to start or?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm ready to go.
so I'm on proposal number 1. Gonna be,
Commonwealth.
okay. I'm gonna go start with Christian, and then I'm gonna just go around the table and I'm gonna write down what everybody wrote. This is disposal site adequately detailed.
2.
Paul? Two. All right,
Next one.
next one is time frame.
2.
Scheduling your lead time.
1.
One,
Typical proposal complete.
3.
5,
4.
4. Okay, we're gonna go to clarity and of cost proposal. Christian?
18.
And I had 18. Addresses potential excess cost.
20.
10,
I had 18. Total cost.
45.
I had 49. And the total cost we are calculating at 35,200. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Let's go to Denali, number 2.
0.
Well. What was I?
Adequate and detail.
Uh-huh.
Okay, wait, I'm sorry. For number 2, that would be 2.
Mhm.
One.
And 2, timeframe,
Sure.
0.
Here.
oh, I'm looking at the wrong sheet. Yes. And I also have 0. Okay.
0
0,
for the next one.
uh-huh.
0.
And the technical proposal,
2.
2.
okay, clarity of cost,
20.
15.
19, addresses potential excess,
20.
20.
the total cost,
50.
47.
50. And then we calculate the total cost at 21,500.
22.
I got 21.5.
Well, what did you have?
Okay.
21.5.
Okay. I made a mistake.
All right.
I did your numbers.
But you should have seen the formula I used before.
Yeah. He had us buying the Lincoln
Well,
Memorial.
Yeah, I was like, wow, we could just create a.
Build a new
Water
water
plant.
plant.
Yeah.
Okay. The water park,
All
yeah.
right, we're on item number 3,
Number
disposal site,
1.
2.
2, timeframe,
2.
2.
2, scheduling,
1.
0.
1.
1, technical proposal,
5.
1.
5.
I have a rocket.
I wrote 4, that's too much.
That's complete.
Tentative cost proposal,
20.
20.
and addresses potential cost, the
20.
potential excess.
20.
Well, I said 5.
Okay,
Okay, that's yours.
I gave you 20.
and I gave it 10. And total cost,
10.
0.
I have 25.
222,540, right?
Okay, so let me go back until the beginning. Oh, yeah, here. 3, 4.
Oh, here. 6.
Oh, tell me the total price on the clean harbor, I didn't write that down.
22540.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Well, actually, now I think about it, maybe we could ascertain a couple of these facts from each of them. Looks like we're looking at 1 and 2.
That looks
But
like,
we'll see what the numbers come out to.
I
Just
think that's an excellent idea.
just to make sure. But let's just look one. I don't know. How urgent is it to get the tanks clean?
May 15, done.
That's to be done May 15th. Okay, so
We will reaffirm that on Thursday morning. We'll be able to report to council if there's any change to that, but we really have made the commitment for it to be done by then.
It's a basketball.
well, we were told something the last time. So
But there was something told to us about 4 months ago, but we have been continuing to confirm this date in the progress meeting since then. It has held, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
okay, to make sure. It wasn't like we're trying to get this done before it gets freezing weather.
Actually, the change occurred 2 progress meetings ago.
Hmm.
And so for that one and then the one last month's meeting, it stayed the same. And we're having another one, that basically.
Put that Excel spreadsheet going there.
I know,
Put all the numbers in it.
I started to.
I will double check the numbers to make sure that I'm correct. Or we report, but based on what we know today. Yeah,
I'm not gonna do it now, but I had some ideas for next time.
yeah,
For the questionnaire. For this.
Oh, yeah,
and the thing is that this may change every time. We may not use this method every time.
right, depending on the project. But I thought it was very solid, like they really did address what was in
I
there.
was very impressed with all, you know, compared to what we had the first time.
Yeah, the process helped,
I'm
for
guessing
sure.
all those folks that looked at it, and a lot of them got squared off and said, I'm just not gonna bother, and we ended up with what we needed here.
Exactly,
I think so.
which is okay. So,
Yeah, you didn't believe the last time. We were like, we couldn't make a decision.
Yeah, well, I got the hose. Wasn't like that.
And we was like, we had to regulate for something, when someone could start, we had cost issues. I didn't know it was like, oh,
And it was apples, oranges, and spaceships.
all right. So for number 1, we have a total score of 365. And number 2, we have a total score of 371. And for number 3, 2 out of 7.
Well, they want them for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, but unfortunately, the challenge with the high total score is the hard stop. But what we read, you cannot confirm that they can meet that hard stop.
Yeah.
So how do we know that?
I feel like that's a threshold thing that it's qualifying, like it needs to be done within this time frame. Period.
And while we did not disclose the actual timeframe, we did ask for lead times, we asked for constraints, and we could describe them. You know, I mean, we could ask if there's any way they can meet that timeframe, but you are dealing with Maryland Department of Agriculture.
yeah, I'm concerned we're gonna end up, it's out of their control. And we could be like,
Not what she said.
Well,
We're dealing with what?
the Maryland Department of Agriculture.
But the
Yeah.
process of being
Department of
controlled.
Agriculture.
Right.
yeah,
So-
they're the ones
so-
that have to do the analysis of the sample and.
And if it
he
can
said-
land on the land that they want it to land on, which what you said, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But what you said, as opposed to the first person who said, I've already got my analysis, it can absolutely go on this land, we're done, that's good, we can roll.
And that would actually have been a positive with either of the bids in that they control that actual land and presumably have a process that's built in. The likelihood of something getting bounced is,
Yeah,
I mean, it's not zero, but it's way lower.
and we could confirm this fact since it's such a salient fact. Important part of a decision.
I think if the chart had been weighted heavier on the lead time, which.
That's what I want.
We should have done that, and that was, you know, sometimes
Well-
you don't know what you're gonna get.
But, and that was just the thing, because back when we originally did it, like, this would have been workable, you know?
Right,
So
exactly.
I feel like this is entirely,
I'm just saying, before we do the next one, what's the 2 or 3 things we've got to have? And
what are simply the, if you can't meet this.
Yeah,
then-
and that's it, right, and we also should consider that, making that more clear in the bid process.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
I feel like
but
it's
it,
entirely within bounds, that if you were looking at this process and this discussion and what we need to have done.
and our obligation is to award the best bid for the municipality. We have a process for awarding to other than the lowest bidder if we require that.
could we do a quick follow-up to the 2? Confirm, and then on Thursday, was it Thursday? Next Thursday,
You know,
right?
which is this Thursday.
I think, oh gosh,
Sure, we don't have any time. So, but we can let the council pick between the 2.
Right, and if you want, if you
Is this
would
one
like affirmation of information I can reach out to the people involved and say, we need to confirm this information from your bid that we have extrapolated and that we understand. And if you want to know if there's any other questions, I can ask those questions and present them at council. You could make a recommendation based on what you see here today, and then that can always change once we get to council.
Yeah, I feel like we should make the recommendation. But it is fair to present the question that way in a neutral manner.
Right. So what you might want to do in this circumstances is make a recommendation that you think is the best right now, but also make a motion to guide me in whatever information you would like for me to affirm with each member.
So our town council meeting is in 2 days, and this is on the agenda.
Yes, and we had posted with this bid that the award will be given on Friday. So what we would do then, based on what we learn on Thursday night, is we would post the award on Friday, and we would basically be cutting the purchase order at that time. Yeah.
And Christian, do you want to prepare the motion? That's correct. Okay.
I could do it, but
No,
If there was a choice made to award to someone other than the lowest bidder, our requirements are that we show that it's justified and in the best interest of the municipality, that we document that information, why that is the case, and that we then, as the evaluators, would sign off on that once we make the award.
okay, so the documentation, I think it would be a statement highlighting the time to begin and complete the work.
The time constraint.
it's a time constraint.
Yeah.
So, well, is there any specific documentation we have, an email, anything that's stating it needs to be sent by data?
I believe that I could find something about that, but I do have 2 or 3 recorded water treatment plant update meetings that confirm May 15th.
If I can get the date of that recording effort to incorporate by
I
reference,
can tell you,
and that the date is May 15th.
I can tell you at least one, and I'll get it for you right now.
And that was the waterworks meeting.
It was a water treatment plant update meeting held on February 24th.
I have confirm the details. Should we ask them to do that in writing?
I mean,
So that would be like practically overnight to get that back by Thursday.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
we need it before our meeting.
Yeah. I'll do both. I'll call them, talk to them now,
And
Okay, so
then-
that happened when?
tomorrow.
And then ask them to reply fairly fast.
I think they're gonna know quickly. It's gonna be possible, yeah.
Mhm.
And then when we get it confirmed, we could pick them, but I mean, at the council, here's the 2. Confirm this.
This was our
This
recommendation.
is why we
what-
think this
right.
is best
Right, yes.
for our needs.
Okay.
But we're not always doing lowest bidder, even though, and we have to justify that.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
that's why we have point people to the meeting where it says it's necessary to be done by the
And
state.
we'll be able to confirm that May 15th, Thursday morning. So we will have an affirmation of that Thursday night.
And if there's something printed,
And if all of a sudden they say, whoop, we don't need it until September, well, that's a whole nother
right,
way.
then we can change.
Okay,
Yeah. I think we did the thing.
I think we're just about there.
Deb, are you collecting these forms?
Yes, I want to read those forms. I will prepare I'll prepare a summary of all 3 and that'll go to council. Along with the things themselves. Have the binder clip, the big one. It's actually duplicate. No,
Oh, yeah, two of them had doubles.
okay, so there was doubles inside of that.
Yeah. Oh, here's
Okay.
another
The
one.
actual thing.
You know what? I've plenty of scrap paper.
I don't know.
I don't know, but shred it and put it on strawberries.
Oh, me.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
sludge.
it's really nice finishing up, and we learned a lot of things. We will be, we'll handle this differently next time. I'll print it out. during the meeting.
Oh, yeah, a lot of it is just
A lot of
the
it's
learning
more
curve.
reading, yeah.
No, I feel like it was a really, really useful process. I feel like it reached a very solid decision.
All right. Are you ready for our motion? Oops.
The motion includes additional confirmations, correct?
Well, I think that you could make them separately,
Great.
based on, you can make the first one based on affirmations to follow, or, yeah.
Okay. I move to recommend that town council accept the bid from Commonwealth. Pending affirmation of time completion dates from the top two bidders.
And- Okay,
For cost.
Is that-
Oh, and cost.
so, did you try with that? We're going to repeat it.
No, I heard it. I'm wondering if there's anything else it should be pending. Because it's completion, beginning and completion. So,
I'd like to be more specific and say the start and completion date, no one seconds it, so I can draw.
Why don't you withdraw to detain in the air?
Yep, I'll draw.
And I would also suggest that when you make that, when you mention the vendor, put the total price that we're accepting it for, as we understand it.
else to, basically, this is not contingent on any analysis of the sludge.
I don't think that's required. I think that that's covered in our bid application and documents that you provided. He has already affirmed through going through the check process that he is responsible for that.
Well, it is that they're responsible for it, but I mean, it doesn't mean that they couldn't. I mean, for instance, one of the firms said more than one time that there was a Harper's Ferry representation of the sludge, and that if it differed from the Harper's Ferry representation, then that would result in further cost.
We're okay,
You know what I'm
Morgan.
saying? So that's different from just saying,
Well, that conflicts with the bid requirement. Where is that? Can you recall if that was in 1, 2, or 3 of
It was
the?
in number 3.
Okay, well, that's off the table anyway. Number 3 is too high in cost. We can't even begin to approach it. So that's off the table.
And what's
I
the
just
full name?
don't want the issue coming back.
Well, the challenge with so the benefit of the Commonwealth was the Commonwealth stated in there, he has already gone through the process of putting it on the ground, taking care of that, he knows it's good to go. The variable,
That is just one of those things we want to affirm.
and I believe that what we'll do is we'll have a proper contract purchase order, which will include some verbiage about that as well.
I think it would be good to cover all the bases to make sure we don't forget anything, is to the list of questions that you're going to talk to them about, that could you circulate that and we could comment and add or subtract.
Oh, we did that, but that was I mean, previous
No, I'm saying, I'm
generation.
talking about the conversation you were going to have with them.
Okay, but the idea is that it's going to be a short and sweet conversation. Yeah, 1 or 2 questions to answer, and I need your answer back in 24 hours.
It isn't a rebid either. It
It's
is,
not a rebid.
it's a confirmation. But we understand. It's almost yes, no. Almost.
I mean, basically what I intend to ask is, our calculation shows that your base price for doing this is X. And that are you able to complete it by X date? And if you're not, and because of, and then, or our affirmation of price is X, our records from what you see, from what you sent us, showed you would not be able to complete it by X date, and is that the case? And is there any way that that could change? And if
And I just want to, you're probably right, and that's all there is. I'm just, the part about the land application or not is something that we're assuming we understand what they mean when they talk about that anything that's not land applications going to the pond, on farm or whatever. And we assume that that means, like, let's affirm that that is what they need, you know? That's all I'm saying, is you're probably right that that's all we need
So it's
to
easy.
ask
It's
about.
also
It's in
confirmed
the-
disposal method.
It's in the question.
Disposal location.
As well as we understand that it's been completely permitted and we have got,
It's kind of in the questions that they had to check. Kind of in it's just kind of clear. It wasn't in writing, it just, they confirmed this.
and to ask, do you see any reason why this would not go exactly as you have put in your bid? Do you see any reason, whether by permit, by sludge, by the land you're taking, do anything, do you see any reason that they, but you know, perhaps that's not the best way to put it. I guess this is such a huge deal that we get this right. And that there's nothing showing up on the back end. I guess I want every assurance.
They do avert to that in the contracts, and I do feel that with all 3 of them, those are just, I would say we just take them on faith, but given the caliber of each of these companies from their bids, I don't think asking them again can assure it. It's almost like proving negative. That you can't say for sure something won't go off the rails somewhere on the chain. But I do feel like this process and these affirmations were put in there for that reason, so that they would consider them.
And they're all experienced companies. I mean, this is not like some local outfit that decided I'm gonna jump into this. And
Well, I like the simplicity of the bids of, you know, we're gonna show up with our tanker trucks and we're gonna load them up and we are taking it out of there. I like that simplicity. It's made it easy to read the bid and understand.
Are we
So you're telling me you're not worried about all these other things, just to make sure they affirm the permit, that there's no more further inspection of the sludge needed. They're not planning to do any further inspection?
well, no, one of them has to get approved by the Maryland Department of Agriculture.
That's part of why,
That's
That's
the contract.
that's
Yeah,
the contract.
exactly. I
So
know
we're gonna
that.
ask them
So,
about
and
that.
that's also part of why I specified a qualified disposal site, knowing that they will not accept it if it is not
it's
properly.
And
permitted.
I think the other thing that we have to consider too is when it comes right down to it, regardless of how quickly they might be able to push it through the Maryland Department of Agriculture, are we willing to live with the risk of not
Right.
knowing that now and cutting the purchase order now?
Right, but that's the danger.
Right, and they may not have the control over it either.
That's the problem, right?
Right.
be some cyber thing from Russia and knocks out their system. It did it on their doing unemployment for the state of Maryland. It was crashed. Literally, they could not issue checks for months. So I'm just,
So,
we need firmer bait.
I wonder if they could affirm that they don't feel it necessary to apply for any other permits, that they have all the permits.
I think they do feel it's necessary to apply for this, not necessarily a permit, but this confirmation from the state of Maryland. I think they do think that's necessary.
No, I'm not talking about number 2. I'm talking about number 1.
Oh.
I wonder if I'm just saying, it would be nice to hear that they do not feel that they have all the permits they need. So that what that would do was that would tell us that we're not waiting on a permit from them either. I mean, we don't think we are. We don't think there is, as we understand this document.
We can ask, though it appeared in their letter that it was fine, but.
Yeah.
we can ask.
No, I'm sorry. I guess you thought I was talking about the number 2, but I was not. I was talking about number 1, about getting them to affirm the things that they said here.
And Laura, would you characterize that as we're looking for affirmation that all necessary permits will be acquired?
No, that they have already acquired them.
That they are in hand and ready to go. So therefore, also that also dovetails into, are you able to meet a, start date of, let's say, no later than May 1st. No later than.
So the ones that I have for confirmation are start date, completion time frame, affirmation that all necessary permits have been acquired, and total cost estimate for the top 2.
And I think that sounds good. Let me ask you. Okay, so I was reading that number 1 wants 3 weeks lead time.
Yeah.
And then they say it'll be done in 1 week.
That's 4 weeks.
Yes.
So that would mean that they could start in April.
Yeah.
And so
Is that wrong?
I think it's great. I don't think we should talk to them about the latest possible date just to get started. We should try to get them to start in mid-April, if possible.
As
And
soon as possible, right?
at the end of 3 weeks from when it is awarded to them. If it is, if the council decides to do that.
I think that they've basically committed to this date, but then when we work with them, that we can.
Yeah, we'll work with them about, but basically as soon as possible, getting started in 3 weeks.
Sure.
That would be good.
I imagine
That's what
since
we
we're
want.
asking about to confirm the start date and the duration time, they'll understand the urgency and that could help.
Right.
If they're, and all 3 of these, I think that did very nice bids. They seem like, and if you do good bids, you generally build in a little extra time so that you can under promise and have to deliver. So I'd be surprised if they didn't exceed expectations on most things, including the start date.
So if they, well, basically, we would ask, that would be the best that we could ask them, is to try to work on that. Start as soon as possible after the 3 weeks.
For sure.
Okay.
Ready for the motion?
Motion?
Yeah, so we'll scroll down here, make sure that we can formulate. I move to recommend that town council accept the bid from Commonwealth Disposal Incorporated with an estimated cost of $35,200, pending confirmation of the start date, completion time frame, affirmation that all necessary permits have been acquired, and total cost estimate for the top 2 bidders. I'm sorry.
Second. Discussion?
Can you read it again, please?
Sure.
One more time. Thank you.
I move to recommend that's not part of it. The town council accept bid from Commonwealth Disposal Incorporated with an estimated cost of $35,200, pending confirmation of the start date, completion timeframe, affirmation that all necessary permits have been acquired, and total cost estimate for the top two bidders. Yeah, so it's not the actual price because we didn't ask for a hard price. We asked for the estimate. So the total cost estimate, meaning we asked for two parts. One, the cost that they think it is, and then their method for determining what the cost would be beyond that. Hence the wording.
And that number could be less. I mean, the actual.
Right. But we're confirming that we understand what. that.
Mhm. All those in favor? Okay. Motion carries. All right, that's it.
Okay, it is 6:08.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, I can't read clocks anymore. 6:08 p.m.
Yeah. And a second here?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? All right.